Welcome back to the lunch table, everybody. And before we start the podcast, I just want to shout out our sponsor, Papa J's Lambanog Vodka. Now, they've been making Lambanog for about 400 years in the Philippines, and all it takes is just this little old man to climb up the coconut tree and grab the nectar from the tree, distill it, and it's done within 7 days. It's hella good. Check them out, papajs.com. Now, let's get to the podcast. Yay! Welcome back to the lunch table, food for thought. I'm Nico Blitz. You already know where to hit that subscribe button, man. Shout out to my next guest. Is it cool to say YouTube legend? YouTube scene legend? I don't know, man. Because whenever I mention your name to somebody, they always say damn, throwback.
Yeah, I know. They're like OG.
Yeah.
They're I've been booked at colleges lately, and they're like legacy act. I'm
Legacy.
What the hell? Dude, I'm not even that old.
Does it make you feel old though?
Maybe 2 years ago, when people started saying that to me, because now these people are, college or got families and stuff. I felt a little old, but now I embrace it, man. And I'm like, dude, I pretty much grew up with you guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And if you don't know who I'm talking about, AJ Rafael.
Right.
I'm
hey,
just like,
everybody.
we forgot to mention his name. We're like a minute in. AJ Rafael, everybody.
Hey, yo. Yeah, hopefully you saw the name before you clicked the podcast. But yeah, it's good to be here, man. It's been a long, long journey.
About a decade now. A little bit over that.
Over that, yeah. 14 years, man, in September.
That's such a long time,
on
bro.
YouTube.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
But you know what I mean? New single out right now, Waking Up Sucks Sometimes.
Yeah.
I showed it to one of my homies, and then she was just like, damn, it's so sad.
Did she?
And I was just like, yeah,
She's
it really got
tears.
me in my feelings, bro.
Dude.
And what's funny is that you actually just dropped the music video, maybe 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
And by the time I got to the end of the video, it just hit my heart in a certain way, and I was like, damn, this is like a Filipino soap opera
Dude,
right
seriously,
now, bro.
man. There's some Jollibee commercials happening right now that are super sad and super feels.
Oh, no.
And people are like, dude, you should write one of those. This would be it if you wrote one.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Instead of you dropping peanuts at the end, it would have just been some Jollibee Chicken Joy. I'm telling you, bro, just remake the video. They're gonna run you up.
That's funny. That's funny that it was actually almonds that dropped on the floor. Anyway, I don't want to spoil anything for you if you haven't seen the music video, but I appreciate it, man. It's been cool to hit people with the feels again. It's been a while.
Of course, man. I've had this prediction. I made this prediction in 2019 that 2020 is gonna be that year, or the year that sets off all the moody music.
Yeah.
Because I think back when you started doing all the YouTube stuff, that's when the moody music was around.
Sure.
And 2010s is just all straight hip hop, but I think it's kind of getting sucked out of everybody now.
Sure.
So you're coming back in at a really good time.
No, it's cool, man. Yeah, and the last couple of years, there's some tracks that I was working on that never got released, but we were looking for a new sound and stuff, and I was trying to be like, what's gonna be my new sound? But when we came across this song, and started working on it, it was like my producer Jesse Barrera. He was like, dude, this feels like the old AJ, and I was like, dude, I'm with it, man.
Yeah.
No need to beat myself up over trying to do something new. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Yeah.
Well, I think what tends to happen is that people want to catch up with everything that's new, and then a lot of fans who are accustomed to what AJ Rafael sounds like is this isn't what we want. We kind of just want the AJ Rafael that we've been getting.
Exactly. I felt that when I was uploading on YouTube for the last 2 years. I was trying some new things. I don't know, reaction videos, which some people like, or some vlogs and stuff. But when I was posting live videos with me and my homies again. Mm-hmm. That's when people started really responding again. Yeah. There's a plateau for a couple years. So it is cool to remind yourself why and how you got started, and to, just kind of go with that and not be ashamed of it or feel like it's the old you.
Well, why did you get started?
Man, I started my YouTube to promote my MySpace. And I know it's crazy.
Shout out to everybody who still has their MySpace.
Seriously. No, we were, me and my friends were all looking at our profiles and stuff. Some of them got deleted and some are still on. But, back then it was a legitimate thing for me to promote my music that way and play local, backyard shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And I got booked for my first show in San Diego through my MySpace because I had a song up there. Bro, this song was not even on the MySpace music player. It was through JavaScript that I had to
Damn.
put up a real player codec, and you hit play, and that play button becomes a pause button. So it's like, it was those days, man. I'm like, hey guys, go look at my profile and hit the play button, and then a song would play.
How many plays do you think you got on that?
Dude, I remember in 2009, I was at Berklee College of Music at my school, and I told one of the professors, I was like, yo, man, I just hit 180 million views, or hits.
That's crazy.
180 million hits, dude. Well, that's when MySpace Music started, that's when they had the player. And people were putting their songs on your profiles and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it was the beginning of something kind of crazy, man. Like, no one knew. Like, I remember my professor, who worked mostly in the hip hop space, he was like, oh, cool, man, you should move to LA. I was like, cool, yeah, I already live there. And he's like, you should crash the award shows. Like, he didn't even know what to say.
Yeah.
It was such a new space at the time.
Well, even if you think about it, you said 100 million plays?
Yeah.
100 million plays back then was extremely legitimate because you were even saying people had to encode it on their pages.
Right.
It's kind of like when somebody Shazams it. It's like, yo, what actually is this
Dude,
song?
yeah, for real.
And, and a Shazam actually counts as an actual play.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I was even looking up, like, people creating streaming farms where they just have, like, hundreds of thousands of phones just pressing.
I seen a Facebook video of that.
Yeah, and, to me, I'm just like, bruh, like, I think a play back then, whether it be like a decade ago or whatever, before the streaming era means a lot more than like a stream or a play now.
Yeah, I feel that way a lot of the time as well. And so at least I know that, back then, from whatever time it was, 2008 to 2012, like, those plays meant something to somebody. And those fans, who I still kind of run into now, those are like my loyal, like, they feel like friends type fans because they were playing me since the beginning. You know what I mean? So, I'm always grateful for that crazy time where nobody knew what, like, plays were really and things like that. You know what I mean? But streaming wise, I guess that was so different than buying, and then iTunes came along in the picture and you started buying music. And, my first album, Red Roses,
2011, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you, man. It hit the iTunes charts, and that was like a big deal for me.
Yeah, that hit number 5 on the pop charts?
Yeah, it was number 5, and it was only 2 artists ahead of me because it was their deluxe version of their album. So it was Adele and Lady Gaga.
Wow.
Yeah,
bro, that's crazy.
Yeah, for relatively, that's kind of, it sounds really, really cool, but it was one full day.
Yeah.
I'm proud of that for sure. It was one full day of being on the charts back then, and it was an exciting time because we were independent. Although we did go through this independent distribution company who kept trying to put me in a Target, and I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna get into Target, dude." Like 30,000 albums at that time. We're trying to get into Target every day.
Yeah,
with big labels, and apparently one of the top level people was like, "Oh yeah, my daughter watches his videos. He's a family values guy."
Oh wow!
And then I got in to Target.
Damn, bro. So
yeah.
What, you sold out on all your albums back then too?
We did sell out like the first run, which was crazy. But they reordered, and they returned, bro, because it did not translate really well. They were looking at me back then, and that's when FM was really blowing up, and Bruno First was coming out. They're like, oh, he'll be in that market. Do you know what I mean? When my music's nothing like theirs.
Got you.
But it's because I'm an Asian.
They just grouped you in with the... No, let's just throw them in with the other Asians.
Yeah.
It'll work.
No, honestly, bro, that's what it felt like. And, they were reordering crazy. And I remember getting that return. And I was just like, damn, what do I do now? They just returned like $50,000 worth of something.
So then do you think you ever have achieved that respect of, like, just being an artist as opposed to being an Asian artist who does this music?
Right. Of course, man. I think about that all the time. But, then I think about, my purpose and stuff. And if I was meant to just, like, inspire other kids who look like me, you know what I mean, then that will mean more in the end, than, like, me sometimes even back in the day wishing I was, like, a white dude. You know what I mean? Or
that's crazy.
As respected as I'm like, dude, Jason Mraz was like my idol, I'm like, dude, man, I make music just as good as this dude. That's a little bit of ego, but also confidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, I made a song just as good as this. Why am I not hitting? You know, and of course I would think if I were not Asian, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think the impact of what I've been doing for a long time, and like you said, you know, when you bring up my name, I'm an OG or whatever, you know what I mean? Like that is in my period of life right now as a 30-year-old, you know, I appreciate that more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you look back at it and you're just like, well, if I'm going to be boxed in as an Asian artist, then somehow you kind of have to maximize it. But then in order to reach the masses too, you can't always just be like the Asian guy who does this.
Exactly. That's the thing, you know, and I remember Joe Coy earlier in his career was telling me, you know, he'll always love playing the cultural shows, but he had to consciously like say no to those for a while. So people wouldn't box him in to just like being like a Filipino comedian, you know, and he was giving me that advice at the time. And I figured that was true, although, you know, even now, especially now, actually, I'm playing a lot of the cultural shows, you know, like the Asian American clubs and things like that. But yeah, it's a thought that is on my mind all the time.
So then how does your music translate with, I guess, the non-Asians?
Yeah. It's funny when I'm at Disneyland, which I've been a couple of times in the past couple of weeks, when a non-Asian comes up to me, and I'm not saying at all that it means anymore, but it still does kind of surprise me, you know, when it's a non-Asian who comes up to me and is like a white girl who's like, I loved listening to your music, you know, when I was a kid or whatever, you know. To me that speaks to the reach, you know, and it's not just like, hey, you listen to this dude because he's Filipino, you know what I mean? It's like, that's what I love about Spotify and things like that, where like there's really no face to the music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you know me from YouTube and you still were able to relate to me, even though we're not each other's race, I mean, that just speaks to humanity. So, I mean, that is a cool feeling as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think one thing about Spotify too, like, you know, obviously there's like a section where it tells you like artists that are similar to you.
Yeah.
And literally everybody on the side, it was like Gabe Bonda, Jesse, and I'm just like, all right. Let's mix this up just a little bit.
I feel you. You know, back when like Pandora was popping and stuff and someone heard me on Sam Smith radio, they freaked out, dude. And that's to me when I was just like, and that might have been an algorithm thing because maybe they have listened to Jesse Barrera and Gabe Von Dock and all those guys. But it was cool that there's a chance that somebody might like be like, oh, this is some really sad breakup music by a mainstream pop artist. And then here's another dude who I have no idea about, but same kind of music. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I think at one point you tried to jump over that box when you had that song with Tori Kelly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was like one of those situations where I'm just like, okay, AJ and Tori kind of like blending audiences together. It's kind of like it's helping them both out at the same time.
Sure. And we both acknowledge this. You know, she's going to Asia soon, and she's told me like, dude, the reason I have fans in the Philippines is because of you. You know,
that's crazy.
I mean, that's really cool to hear from someone who obviously is a mainstream pop artist.
Yeah.
But also she's my friend, and she's like, you know, we have both helped each other out. And I have a lot of fans who are not Asian or Filipino because of Tori as well. You know, when people come up to me and they're like, I love your videos with Tori. You know,
shout out to the white girl that ran up on you on Disneyland.
Dude, for real. That might have been through Tori Kelly, you know, and not to say that one of us has helped more than the other, but you know, we are a big part of each other's journeys, and it is cool sometimes to get that validation from somebody who is you know, who has quote unquote made it in that way, you know, because she did come from like the same branch. You know, we were both in the Inland Empire. She was doing music independently, even though she had a record deal at 12 years old. You know what I mean? It's kind of like one of those things where early when I was collaborating with her, I'm like, dude, it's been written in the stars for this girl. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's so cool that she's still so humble and down to earth to kick it with me and my friends and make videos. Yeah. You know what I mean? So.
Well, that's why I did go on your YouTube page, and I think you guys posted something like around Christmas time.
Oh yeah, we did a reaction.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool seeing somebody like, you know, Tori Kelly obviously doing what she's doing, but as you said, like go back and still being like humble about like, you know, like her her roots and
Yeah.
how everything started off.
Yeah, I think for her, and she said this in a couple of interviews, like her time, especially from 2010 to like 2013, 14, before her like major label debut, she's like, that was like college for me because she didn't go to college. She's just like hanging out in Riverside with you guys, going out to get boba and stuff every night. Like it was crazy. She's like honorary Asian to us. You know what I mean? But it's cool to hear, again, that from someone like Tori. But also, I don't put anybody on a pedestal, and not just in terms of Tori, but I think that like, the celebrity nowadays is different from celebrity back in the day.
Yeah.
Where it's like all mysterious, like you didn't know nothing about them. It's so cool that like Tori's able to show her personality through like, these reaction videos that we just did, and to kick back and just look at the camera and say, hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, AJ.
Well, I think back then, a lot of celebrities didn't utilize YouTube or any other outlet the way it's being used now.
Yeah.
Because you know what I mean? Like, nobody was doing reaction videos to anything like that. So you didn't really get a sense that, like, oh, the person on the other side of the screen is kind of like how I am. We kind of just looked at celebrities back then and was like, damn, like, they're kind of untouchable.
Dude, for sure.
But nowadays, dude, I think I mentioned your name to somebody, and they were like, yeah, like, I ran into AJ Rafael like Baldwin Park, and he was just like the nicest guy. I was at like a Target or whatever.
That's so cool.
And you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think the idea of celebrity nowadays, because everyone likes to put themselves out there and like showcase their personality, it cuts out all that tension of just like, oh shit, should I go up to him?
Dude, totally.
Should I say something?
I feel you. I think there is that boundary of anybody you don't know and you kind of crashing their lunch or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? like that happened to me in the Philippines recently, and I was not feeling well. And these group of kids came up, and they made a scene, not on purpose to make a scene.
Yeah.
But they come up to me, and everybody after that, everyone starts asking me around the table, like, who are you? Who are you? So in that sense, it's a little almost embarrassing that I'm so like, that there is no wall between me and some of my fans. You know what I mean? Like, and again, I do love treating them like family as well. But there's a balance, I think, too.
yeah, of course. Like, you can't have like 100 motherfuckers running up on you and then just like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, like in the context, if I am not having a show and that's happening to me, I get a little embarrassed and I kind of, maybe I'll put on a face like I'm smiling in the photos, but also I'm like, to be real, just like a little annoyed, you know what I mean? Because I'm just here with my mom at the mall or something, you know what I mean? And just trying to get quality time. But really at the end of the day, I also know on the other hand of it, it takes a lot of courage for anybody to go up to anybody.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean?
For any particular reason.
Yeah, so I have to almost like defend some of them to like my friends or even my girlfriend when we first started dating. I'm like, I'm sorry he didn't straight up ask you to take the photo. He just handed you the phone because in their mind, they don't even know what's real right now. You know what I mean? Some of them have looked at me as like a untouchable celebrity, so they treat me like that. You know what I mean? And it's not anything on you. You know what I mean? It's just we kind of black out sometimes, man. I mean, I was feeling that way. I met Katy Perry yesterday, bro.
I saw that.
Right,
Yeah.
and I was so nervous, dude. But when we just started talking, it was just like a regular human being. So celebrity culture, I don't know. It can be, it is what you make it to be. I don't know, man. It's complicated for sure, especially being like, I'm like a low tier to mid tier celebrity. You know what I mean? Like in a lot of cases. So I had to also grow up dealing with that side of what being an independent musician is.
So then how do you maneuver through life? Because, obviously you've been with your girlfriend for a while, right?
Yeah.
And then she's probably like with you at times whenever you're traveling. You go out to shows, and then sometimes you just want to like have lunch and sit down and just relax. Like, how do you balance everything out?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to even talk about it where it doesn't sound like I'm complaining because I'm really not. I'm like truly grateful for every interaction that I have. But there's some cities we might be like, like she's like, maybe let's not go there because it might be a meet and greet for you. Like every time I go to Boiling Crab, it's like,
oh my God.
It's like a meet and greet, and I have the bib on, and my hands are, I'm like, hi,
It's like, AJ, what's up, man?
Dude, I'm like, I don't, And not to say I avoid these places, but sometimes, yeah, we just want some quiet time.
Yeah.
And we get that at home and around Glendale, which is cool, like where I live now. And we don't, I meet people at the Galleria and the mall, but yeah, I think the balance has not been hard per se, but there's some thought going into it when we, are on vacation or something like that.
Yeah, it's like, let's just order in boiling crab this time. We don't, you know what I mean? Like, we don't have to actually go in. Let's just order the shit.
Yeah, we've definitely done that before, man. I can never fault fans for coming up to me and even when they're like the employees, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's almost like a really cool thing when an employee is, because sometimes they'll hook you up with like a little 5%, 10% discount.
Hey,
you know
man,
what I mean? Like you can't.
That's why I enjoy DJing too. It's like,
Exactly,
oh, here,
bro.
let's just give you a couple free drinks. Like, all right,
dude.
cool.
Yeah, we can never be mad at that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it is something that I've had to reflect on, and maybe sometimes I had looked even like an asshole sometimes to people, and I've seen people writing about it on Twitter and stuff, and
Damn.
I've not made I make conscious decisions to reach out to that person and be like, look, I don't know exactly what happened, but dude, I promise, ask anybody who knows me, I'm just a regular dude, so I will have like bad days and my good days.
Of course, because I think people will also make the argument too, like, oh, well, this is what you signed up for.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, well, obviously, I think you can also correct me if I'm wrong, like you just wanting to start off your YouTube channel and showcase your music, you don't necessarily know if like this newfound fame is actually going to be part of the picture.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it just like happens.
That's so true.
You know what I mean? Like when you make your records, like, you got records that hit like, 30, 50 million views on YouTube. You never really know if that's going to happen. So, at that point, like, were you even thinking about, like, how do I adjust once, like, this newfound fame kind of just, like, happens immediately?
Yeah. I mean, adjusting. I just remember it happening, like, in high school slowly.
Yeah.
I started then getting called to do all, like, the assemblies and stuff, and everyone was like, dude, we love AJ, like, I started becoming the popular kid, so... I think at that time it maybe prepared me a little bit more for like when I did get recognized at shows and people started wanting my autograph and stuff. I do think though that for some of my fellow like contemporaries on YouTube, especially like it's kind of a stereotype that like Asians are like introverts and to themselves, but some of them really are, especially during high school. And then when they start doing vlogs and stuff and all these funny videos and you meet them in real life and they're really quiet, you may think they're an asshole, but that's really just how they are. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think about a lot of my friends who maybe have been perceived that way, So for me, I kind of went the extra mile to be opposite and really try to be really charismatic and like really friendly to my fans because I never wanted that to happen, So yeah, there was a fair amount of work that came into me thinking about if the fame was going to come or whatever, fame. Like it's so relative. But also, Will Smith said this recently, like fame is so unnatural. You know what I mean? For us to have all this attention in that way, it's not part of like the natural like cycle. It's
so interesting.
Yeah. So, and I mean, he's, we're really talking about, that's really like Justin Bieber type fame, Lady Gaga type fame, right? It's like, these dudes are like, you can't even go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? And of course it's going to mess with them and maybe they'll turn to different things like drugs or, hanging out with the wrong people because they don't know where to turn and who's there for them and who's there just
because it's kind of like that, I guess, a little bit of anxiety because you can't really like turn the corner and someone's just like, hey,
right,
what's going on?
So
you know what
true.
I mean? It's like there's no privacy, but I think a lot of human beings, like, I think nowadays we just don't appreciate privacy and like aloneness as much as we did like back then. Yeah. Because anybody could get famous or Instagram famous, viral famous, just right overnight. And then next thing you know, you'll see all these kids, as you were saying, like getting into drugs, getting into whatever because they don't know how to deal with it. And it kind of baffles me how people just want to be famous so badly because, I mean, I'm even hearing your story. It's just like, obviously there's its perks. For sure. But then there's also like the other shit that you have to deal with. Like there's a lack of privacy. There's no like, you know what I mean? You can't go out and eat lunch without somebody coming at you.
Yeah. And at the same token as what you said earlier, it's like this is what you signed up for. Of course, to a large extent, I did realize that like yeah, making music and putting my face out there on YouTube, I didn't cover my face or anything and just play tracks. I knew there might be a fair amount of people who recognize me. You know what I mean? So there is an amount you have to kind of prepare for and be ready for. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's sometimes it's embarrassing. Most of the time, it's very cool. Like at the airport when it happens. And it's kind of quiet, like in line and stuff. Then I'm sitting next to somebody who didn't know who I was, which is 99% of the people in this world. And they're like, hey, so what do you do? I saw somebody come up to you,
That's
and
so
you gotta
funny. Yeah.
talk to them the whole plane ride when you're just trying to like chill and like sleep.
Like, I'm a singer. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a small part of, that's it.
Small part of the cost of fame.
Yeah. And yeah, you can't really be prepared, I think, at the end of the day. And you still just got to do your thing and still try to be yourself in your art, and not let that affect you, because I've seen it happen to like some people who move to LA, and it either brings out the best in you maybe or the worst, and then you let LA suck you up and you come out a different person, and it's weird. Fame really does kind of change people. I've seen it in the last 13 years. You know what I mean?
All right, y'all. So long story short, I was DJing at the club the other night, and they were passing out free bottles. As soon as I took a shot of this drink, I turned back to the guy and said, "What is this?" He said it's Papa J's Lambanog straight from the Philippines. I'm talking about I had a couple of these shots throughout the night, and I was feeling hella good by the time I was done DJing. I didn't even have a stank face with any single shot that I took. Now, if you go to papajs.com right now and use the promo code LUNCH, you'll get $25 off delivery and have Papa J's directly onto your doorstep. Yay! Do you think the fame has ever gotten to a point where you actually looked yourself in the mirror and was just like, damn, like I don't even recognize this person anymore?
Yeah, there was a time. 2014, and I had cheated on my girlfriend, and I was like, why did I do that? And it was, I recently had just said that on, like publicly said it on Ben Chung's podcast. But it was really interesting because, a big part of me started looking at myself differently. So I had wrote a letter to my fans like, look, I'm tired of playing shows and stuff. And, I'm smiling with you guys after in the meet and greets, but sometimes it's forced because I don't even know. It was a weird time. And at that time, I wasn't even looking through like a mental health type lens, where now as a 30-year-old, I can look back and be like, dude, I wasn't taking care of myself mentally. You know what I mean? There's so many like opportunities to just go off and, I don't know, do some unnatural things like, or uncharacteristic things, for me. So I wrote a letter to my fans, after that, it was right after that happened. I was like, I'm taking a break. I don't know how long. I played a couple of my last shows. Hawaii, like where I really felt the love. I really needed that at the time.
Yeah.
I went to Guam, Hawaii, the Philippines. I played my last shows. And I took maybe almost 4 years off and didn't even play a show. I uploaded maybe like 10 videos.
Damn, man.
Yeah, dude. So even in a small case, like someone like me who, relatively, I'm not as famous or popular or known as a Justin Bieber. But in my world, in my circle, it had affected me in a way where, there were some negative things going on in my life. So yeah, I mean, that was definitely a time where I had to like reflect and be like, why do I do this? Is it to like have the opportunity to have a lot of girls, come over? Like, and that's fine for some people, you know what I mean? And that's fine if that's the reason you're doing it. But you just got to be real with yourself. And that was just like something that I didn't want, and that didn't feel right for me.
I mean, what did you find was like your reasoning for all of it at the time? Because it took you, what you said 2014, right? So
Yeah.
it took you about like 4 years to actually like sit down and reflect and kind of just like take a step back from everything. Like, what did you really find that you wanted out of it during that time?
Man, I mean, even thinking about that, is really hard to say because I was having writer's block already at the time. So I'm like, dude, what did I just have like this just this blurb of writing that was successful for that time? And like, is that all I am meant to offer? You know what I mean? So yeah, it took a lot of building and being around positive people, and I was hanging out with a lot of like my boys in Riverside, like who I knew through playing basketball, like not through music or anything, you know. So spending time in just a different world, I think helped me get back to where I was meant to be, and then I'd kind of mix these people in with some of my music friends, and slowly start getting back into jamming and stuff. And like even my non-musical friends are jamming with me because they love music, man. And at the end of the day, I think I really learned that music is a healer, you know. I stopped even listening to like the newest music and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny that you say that because that you say music is a healer, because I think about people who just make music day in, day out, try to grind it out and whatnot. And a lot of these people end up turning to like drugs and like alcohol and like all this shit, right? And at that point, it's like music isn't necessarily healing anymore.
Yeah.
Music becomes your drug.
Yeah.
And anything that becomes your drug doesn't heal.
Right. That's so true. It becomes like an addiction, or that you actually need music to like survive every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not let it just do what it's meant to do. Yeah, it is kind of crazy to say that music is a healer, because I've known that all my life. You know, like my dad was a musician, and he was like a conductor and, you know, writer, conductor, like choir leader. And music was all his life. Like he'd play piano every night. Mm-hmm. Even when I was a kid, I would cry at night if I didn't hear him playing piano. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't sleep. I wouldn't go to sleep.
Yeah.
I couldn't go to sleep because I didn't hear him playing piano downstairs.
Dad, just hit these chords.
Come on, Dad.
I'm trying to sleep,
play this song, my man. And you know, and he got my mom involved in the choir, and he passed away when I was 10 years old. It was like a big, big thing to me. I'm like, my mom was ready to move to Australia. Like, I was like, because that's where all her siblings live. And I was just like, dude, that'd be crazy if like music just escaped my life right now.
Yeah.
You know, luckily my mom like kept music in our lives, and she took over his choir at church, even though she had no conducting experience, you know. And then I was playing piano for that choir and for the adult choir and stuff at church every Sunday. And it was just like, and when I look back at that, I'm like, music really does help heal you. You know what I mean? Because now I can still, you know, I still play at that church every Sunday that I can. And I still think about my dad playing at that church, and that helps give me, peace. You know what I mean? And I'm not just like super sad about my dad being dead. Literally, I am happy that all that is inside of me still. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think it definitely took a long time, because you were doing your YouTube stuff for a minute.
Yeah.
And I think 4 years is even like a small amount compared to the amount of time you need to like fully heal.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
So
but
true.
I think seeing songs like Waking Up Sucks sometimes, it not only proves to your audience, but I think it also proves to yourself, like, okay, like I'm healed enough to the point where music isn't a drug anymore.
Right. Where I can just write something and let it take its course. And also, you know, from a writer's standpoint, it's like I could have worked on that song forever and kept going until it's perfect, but at some point you have to let it go, because you have to surrender it. Mm-hmm. That's what I kind of learned, you know, so then other people could have it.
So was the song Waking Up Sucks sometimes, like how quickly or how slowly was the process of you writing that record?
That one was fairly easy. I had felt like the song I released before that was called Like Me. It was such a different sound, but still kind of me, you know, and I had wrote it for my, and let everybody know I wrote it for my girlfriend. Before I didn't used to do that. Yeah. You know, I like people, it would be a mystery on who I wrote these songs about, you know what I mean? Like with my little circle, you know, even my friends trying to figure out who'd you write that song for, blah, blah,
it's
blah.
Like,
blah.
No leaks.
No leaks, you know, where I like had publicly declared, you know? So I felt, you know, and on a real like note as well, where it's like when you're in a relationship and you're writing sad songs and stuff, it's like, you know, for some of my ex who would be like, you know, who'd you write that for? Like, how are you tapping into that thing? We're supposed to be happy right now, You know what I mean?
I get you.
Yeah, it's like such an interesting thing being a writer in a relationship. You know what I mean? So
It's like, damn, I can't talk about anything.
dude, seriously, bro. Like, there was a point where we were in the studio and my ex came through, and even my bandmates, we were listening to some mixes, and my bandmate Andrew, who had my back completely 100%, it was a sad song about somebody else for sure. Mm-hmm. And then he goes, "Hey Jesse, can we listen to that without the vocals?" Just so like she didn't hear the lyrics, bro. Like this dude had my back so hard. I'll never forget that. He's like, "I just want to listen to the instrumental.
I just want to feel it." Man.
Yeah, bro. I was like, dude, no.
As soon as she leaves, all right, put the vocals back on. We get to go.
Yeah, man. And and this song "Waking Up Sucks Sometimes" is like from the perspective of my girlfriend, actually, when I had left to be part of a musical for 2 months.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
what was the musical?
It was called Burn All Night, and it was a new musical at ART, American Repertory Theater in Boston, which is like one of the biggest like regional theaters, and it was a really crazy opportunity. I couldn't not do it, and I had to move out there, Boston, for 2.5 months, and I think Alyssa at the time didn't really understand that, like, that the opportunity.
Yeah.
And that 2 months is not a long time. We were just barely together for like a year, So, and that can't be even like, there's no handbook for somebody who is a musician, or what I'm saying, like, or a DJ, or like someone who meets people all the time and things like that. So of course I was like trying to understand her perspective, but there's a lyric in there in this song where it's like, "You left and I chose to stay." Like, she's like, "Well, you're leaving. And we had like been on and off during that time because we were fighting so much about like how I was spending my time when I was in Boston and stuff. And we didn't have that dynamic yet of communication, So it really felt like to her that I was like choosing like this musical over like spending time with her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I think also in a sense too, like you being a musician for as long as you have, like, those are one of those decisions where it's just like, yeah, like I have to put this on pause right now because I have to put this 2-month span like on a pedestal.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And it goes back to what you were saying, like there really isn't any like blueprint for how you're supposed to maneuver as a musician in a relationship.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like one of the most difficult things to do, but hey man, look, we're looking in the future now. You and your girl are happy.
I know,
we're
so happy, dude. Like, there's so like, it really just takes communication, and her understanding. Like, once she came to the show, she's like, "I get it, AJ. Like, I want you to book more." You know what I mean?
That's
like, once you try to step in the other person's shoes, and I also had like such a hard time getting used to her having like a 9-to-5 job. I'm like, damn, we're waking up early as hell. All these things, and I'm like, why can't you just call off? Why can't you just like take the day off? And she's like, I only get limited amount of days off during the year. And like someone like me didn't understand that concept.
Where you're just like, I basically have a day off every day and I need to fill in the gaps like throughout the day.
Yeah, like, wow, how privileged am I to have summer all the time? But it takes a little bit of understanding from each other's standpoint, and now we're in a really good place.
Well, amen to that, man. Shout out to you and your girl.
Hey, come on. Thank you.
We got to go to Disneyland one time.
Dude, I'm down. I'm down. And she works at Disney Studios, so we get a lot of cool Disney perks and stuff.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Maybe one day we could see you on like a Disney movie doing background vocals or something.
Honestly, that's been a dream of mine, So not only the singer-songwriter stuff, but like, being in a musical or being an actor and a singer as well. So
yeah. So like, what are some things that that you want to do like beyond music, or things that you haven't necessarily like tapped into in terms of music?
So during that break, I found theater, man. Like musical theater, and I had done a little bit in college and high school or whatever. But during my hiatus, from singer songwriter, I learned what a music director was in the theater world, and it's really, you teach the parts and you're in charge of the music and stuff. So I took a couple of those jobs and I was like, I want to be on stage again. So I joined another musical during that time and started auditioning for things like that. So I think a big goal of mine is one day to be on Broadway, man.
Damn.
I know that's a huge thing because the percentage is so small, for like someone who's just out here doing the theater scene, and,
Yeah.
and I understand it a lot more and what the hustle is, and dancing and all that stuff, which is so different to what my body's used to, and the endurance. But yeah, man, seriously, like beyond my singer-songwriter stuff, I really would love to be part of like a Broadway show someday.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Yeah.
Well, because one thing about acting is that they see no age.
Right.
You know what I mean, you can literally be like, you can be like Dante Bosco, like acting as a kid.
Yeah, high
or you
school.
or be like hella old and get like the old ass parts.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly,
You'll be good
man.
to go.
Or young and then be old. Yeah, it's cool because stage, it's not like super up close stuff. You know what I mean? When you're looking, you also have to just like suspend your disbelief and just be in the story. Which is something I love about theater. Like at Disney California, like a lot of the Elsas, who's traditionally obviously white in the movie, is played by people of color. And that's like
tight.
That's so dope to me
Yeah.
because you can just watch it and be like, yeah, that's Elsa because she's telling the same exact story and things like that. Goes with age as well and stuff. So I really love theater as like a storytelling medium that you could really say anything you want.
Damn, man. Well, let's get AJ Rafael on Broadway, man.
Come
That's all
on,
I'm saying.
man.
Speak that thing into existence.
I know. I feel you, man. That's a really powerful thing.
Amen, man. AJ, we're gonna go through a round of like super quick questions.
Oh,
You
shoot.
just answer
Yep.
everything as best
I
as
saw
you
this.
can.
Let's go.
So, we're obviously at the lunch table. So, what's your favorite lunch?
Poke.
Okay.
I know.
You got to get the poke in Hawaii, though.
Dude, that's the best, bro.
Bruh.
It's different out here, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, they put like hella rice over here, but then in Hawaii, they give you hella fish.
Yeah, the ratio is different.
Yeah.
But that's why you've been in like Foodland, like the grocery
Is that like
stores
the,
out
yes,
there.
yes. That's the best
That's
poke,
the best
bro.
poke, dude. You just get that and you're like, can I get one scoop of rice or whatever? You control the thing, but they give it to you in half pound or pound.
Yeah, and the fish has been marinated for like at least a day or
Dude,
something. I'm
so
like, thank
good,
you,
bro.
man.
Yes.
Shout out to Foodland in Hawaii.
Hey,
man.
come on,
Best
Foodland
poke,
sponsor
bro.
sponsor the lunch table, please.
Who's an artist that you would love to collaborate with one day, like your dream collaboration?
There's 3. I think John Legend, Vanessa Carlton. So random. She's more than just 1,000 miles, okay? Listen to her other stuff.
right.
It's very good.
All right. Let me just say that's the only record I could play from Vanessa Carlton. But if you say so, man.
Dude, her later albums. Anyways, and I have to say Jason Mraz because he was like my first really big inspiration, man. So I'd love to even just meet him one day past collaborating and stuff. So
We'll make sure we make that happen somehow,
speaking
some
it
way.
into the universe.
And last question, man. What's one random music fact about you that people may not know?
Music fact?
Like maybe you had written something or like produced for someone. But if you have an NDA, of course.
I don't know. I play drums. I don't know if that's a really random music fact, but if if there's already a pianist at church who's this kid that we are training to be like the main pianist, and everyone's on guitar and bass and stuff, I just play drums for church. So I think
Drums at the church?
at church.
Is that a Christian church?
It's a Catholic church, but we play a lot of contemporary stuff.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I gotta
bro.
go to that church.
Yeah, dude.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, mass is like, we play the hymns and stuff too, but for like the entrance and like the offertory song, we're like jamming out, bro. Like real drums and stuff. So I think maybe that's why like my piano also is so rhythmic. Like I really am confident with playing piano alone a lot of the time and still and even if I'm playing a fast song, so that comes from that. But yeah, I'm also like a real music nerd.
Yeah.
And I really get along with other musicians who speak that language. So if they don't know a song and I'm just like literally putting numbers for chords for them,
They know exactly
what to do, man. It's really, that's like, that fulfills me when I'm playing music.
Yeah, I'd be so confused if you're like this. It's like, okay, a 4 count? Like, what are we doing right now? I don't know what we're doing.
It's crazy. You just have to play the one chord, which like whatever, key of C. And then from there, then I just start doing numbers like for the next chorus. And they're just going off their knowledge of what's next in the scale.
I need to see you do like a little jam session by yourself, like you just filming yourself doing piano and then doing guitar and then doing everything else that you're doing, like just on one video.
Right. I haven't done that actually, man.
Hey, man.
I should do that.
When you make that video, just make sure you put 5% to my name. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. You get a little bit of royalties. I'm going to do a special shout out, bro.
You know, last question, just because it's very timely, and I saw like a Twitter thread about it yesterday. But what are you giving up for Lent?
Oh my gosh,
because it's in like a month.
I feel you. Like, should I go with like the typical like soda thing or like candy?
That's easy.
No, this is what I do want to do. I want to work out for at least 30 minutes, and that obviously doesn't sound very hard. But for me, who's like a homebody and just likes to stay inside, at least 30 minutes 5 times a week. I think
I like that.
Yeah. So instead of giving up something, I'm like,
you think exactly how my mom thinks. That's how she embedded it in my head too. She's like, don't give anything up, just do something.
Do something that will create a habit. What about you?
I mean, my whole thing was doing that as well, like just the workout thing, because literally as soon as I woke up, like my brain wasn't functioning as fully as it could. I was like, bro, just do 50 push-ups right now.
Shit.
Yeah, just straight up. And I was like, dude, okay, I feel better about myself now, you know? Halfway down through the One Punch Man workout, if you know what that is. You know what I mean? 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats. Halfway through, man. AJ Rafael, thank you for stopping by the lunch table,
dude, thanks for having me, man. It's been cool to watch these online and be here in the set.
I feel it.
Which looks like it's way bigger online.
Hey, man. That's what she said. I don't know. AJ, where can everybody find you, man?
At AJ Rafael on everything, man. And that's with an F, not the PH, like the Ninja Turtle.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Also, check out that Waking Up Sucks Sometimes on YouTube, Spotify,
yes, especially on YouTube, man, because me going back to the music video feels was a big jump for me. And like, you know, I didn't really have any expectations for what the response would be. But yeah, if y'all watch the music video, that would mean a lot.
And can we get more production value and storytelling like this guy did in his music video? I'm just saying, bro.
Come on.
I'm just saying.
Thank you, dude. I'm not hating on anybody who
I'm hating on everybody. He's not. I am.
Who does it in their wall in their apartment studio with some cool lights? Okay, it's more than that, bro.
This is the lunch table. Food for thought. I'm Nico, Blitz, AJ Rafael, and we are out, everybody.
Thanks, Nico. Peace out.